Hello and welcome back to the quarterfinals of ETS Season 1, Week 1. I am Calimdir, also known as Gabe, and I'm joined here in the booth with Sir Rhino to break down top 8 for you guys.
All right, thanks for the introduction as always, Gabe. And yeah, we've got a pretty diverse and, dare I say, unexpected top 8. I don't think anybody quite had this pin as what ended up. So, of course, we had the four that we mentioned earlier today: the Tristero on Praxis midrange, Unearthly on Argenport midrange, Ferretsbro on Skycrag aggro, and Bruised by God on Huru flyers. And then on the other side of the bracket, the 6 and 2s that made it in, we had Alarmadillo on it's called Xenon Killers, but it's not really Xenon Killers. It's just like Xenon mid-range unit pile of stuff with the Orc Interrogator because that card's amazing. And then Trumpets on the worst named deck in Eternal, Ikaria Blue. Second blue that we saw just go down to Unearthly on Stone Scar Grenadins, as if there's any other kind of Grenadins, and Missing Toes with Scream Reanimator. So one of these Scream Reanimator decks did sneak into the top 8. What do you think of this breakdown? 8 pretty different decks here.
I'm just wondering what your beef is with Ikaria Blue. I mean, what do you
Well,
want?
what is blue? I don't understand.
It's Primal.
So it's Primal Ikaria.
I mean, all right.
I stand by my statements.
Fair. You can hate colors if you want, but I think we have them in openers, right?
Yeah, I think we've got our feature match ready to go. Ferretsbro against Trumpets. This will be the Ikaria Blue deck against Skycrag aggro. And it looks like the match might be underway.
We can call it Primal. We can call it Primal Ikaria, if that's what you're feeling.
I'll just fire Primal Justice Control. That really rolls off the tongue, right?
That's a lot of syllables, I think. But we have Ferretsbro with a nice opener of Snowcrust Yeti, which is just what you want to play into a deck that main decks 4 Lightning Storms. And then he's got the Champion of Fury. No double fire or double primal. Feels bad. Maybe you just play the Oni Ronin here?
I think you still go Champion of Fury because then next turn you can go Oni Ronin Champion of Fury. Yes, your opponent is playing Lightning Storm. I think it's generally best to pretend they don't have it,
though. Nah. Yeah, usually you don't play around Lightning Storm, because if you do play around Lightning Storm, you just end up losing to literally everything else.
Well, Scepter does give you a reasonable line of play here to play around Lightning Storm, except they put it on Snowcrust Yeti, I guess, to play around Vanquish instead.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, it's fine. It's not that. Yeah, sure. Your Champion of Fury doesn't die to Lightning Storm if you put the Scepter on it, but it's not like Snowcrust Yeti dies to Lightning Storm if you put the Scepter on it.
Sure,
so it's still fine.
Yeah, it just means Champion of Fury does die to Storm. Of course, these Champion of Furies, by not having double primal that you said feels bad, means they dodge this Island's Choice, and Trumpets is dead. That's the first game.
That was a game. Primal Blue, Ikaria Red has been killed in game 1 by this aggro deck, and that's what we saw happen with Ferretsbro when we saw him on camera earlier. He just had a smooth draw in the early game and crushed his opponent. I mean, that's what his deck is supposed to do. It's supposed to take game 1 against these control decks. That's why he's got the extra 1-drops and things like that. He just doesn't have the ability to go long compared to aggro decks. So once we go to the sideboard, and
I don't think Trumpets' matchup improves dramatically post-board. He already has the 4 Lightning Storm main deck.
That's true, yeah.
Like, you're bringing in some Valkyrie Enforcers, but we're not going to the sideboard yet because this is a best of 5.
Yeah, correct.
So, that's game 1 of at least 3. It's first to 3 takes the match. So even though we're talking about sideboarding and all that, the players will have to go ahead to shortly get back into this game because they don't sideboard till after game 2.
Yeah, correct. And we could see Trumpets very easily take the second game because, like we said, he does have the 4 Lightning Storm. which is very good in this matchup. He has Auric Rune Hammer, which is very good in this matchup as well, as long as he has a blocker down or something. He doesn't have anything like Kothon or Borderlands Wakekeeper, though, which I think really hurts him. And he doesn't have anything like that in his sideboard either.
Yeah, essentially, we saw a version of this deck earlier that was playing Kothons basically in the Lightning Storm slot, right? You're choosing one or the other. You want that resilient threat / wing con that can come down early and be a blocker, or do you just want Lightning Storm? Yeah, Trump is opting for the Lightning Storm. I think is good for this matchup, and has apparently been good for this tournament as they made it into the top 8.
Yeah, I think what Trumpet has gone for is a more polarized version of an Armory deck where he has way less late game, or rather, he has instead of just the typical 2-star Steel Die Show, 2 Ikaria as your end game, and then maybe some Tavrods or whatever. He's got Staff of Stories, 2 Die Show, 2 Ikaria, and a Sword of the Sky King, plus all 4 Rise to the Challenge.
Yeah.
But to make up for that, he just has all 4 Lightning Storms. So it's kind of really polarized.
So double Oni Ronin comes out here from Ferret's Bro. Trumpets chose to keep this Fire Sigil on top because he really wanted power. The thing is, he also really needs a second Justice Source at some point. Away goes the Sword of the Sky King. Down comes the Waystone, opting to go for Strategize there instead of Wisdom.
Yeah, and not having a Storm or even a Harsh Roll in hand to sort of draw power to puts him in a precarious position here. He's going to just be, all right, well, there's the Harsh Rule. So now he feels okay just
double
casting
justice.
Wisdom.
Needs double justice. Yeah.
Yeah, but now if he casts Wisdom, he can potentially draw a double justice. Because if he doesn't get double justice, he's just not winning this game, right? His outs are Throne Warden and Harsh Rule. Oh, I think well, that's interesting.
I don't like this. I think you should have Wisdomed on your turn. What if you draw a depleted Justice Source?
Yeah, exactly.
This is like, you're casting Wisdom. You're not bluffing anything towards Ferret's Bro. Cast Wisdom on your turn. This goes back to a podcast episode that me and Neon recorded this week about timing of your draw spells and how to play Scout Power. Is fascinating topic, and I'm sure Neon's watching the tournament tearing his hair out from this line of play here.
Unnecessary risk, but it's not punished. He's going to be able to play, I think, Throne Warden here. I don't think he needs.
No, I don't think you need to. And now you set up potentially even Staff of Stories next turn if Ferret's Bro doesn't put anything else on this board. Rockslide will pop the Aegis, though, on Throne Warden. I guess we'll see either Permafrost or Mortar come down.
That's fine, though. He might be forced to Harsh Rule. It's not like what you want to do here is cast Rise, right? That would be the ideal play, but have in hand. Yeah, he's got that Rakano Outlaw, which he might hold on to, and if Trumpets plays Harsh Rule out, he's going to feel very rewarded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a question of how much of a clock do you want to put on this board. Is 4 damage a turn, a 4-turn clock, really what you're okay with? I guess with double Mortar in hand, you can accelerate it a bit. But if you play out Oni Ronin or Outlaw here, you still have an okay reload if they Harsh Rule. The appeal to keeping both is if you get stuck on power, you get to play both of these as threats if they Harsh Rule. The whole issue stems from what if they play another Throne Warden or something. Now you're really stuck, and then you need to deploy on board.
Yeah, I mean, what Ferret's Bro really wants is to have a second fire, so he can just play Thaddeus next turn and then not worry about it, but not the case.
Cobalt Waystone, Trumpets isn't looking for power here, but he's pretty happy that this power comes with a face Aegis. That's actually going to mean something in this game, I think. But now they've got to decide, do they pull the trigger on Rule here, or do you Rise for something?
I think I think it's very clear that Ferret's Bro is sandbagging a couple threads there. So I think Trumpets is going to read that and just play the Rise to the Challenge. Taking 4 is pretty bad, but Rise to the Challenge is so threatening that Ferret's Bro has to do something.
Rise?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think I would have Rose for Ikaria here.
Yeah, especially when you have Ikaria castable next turn.
Yeah, like you have an undepleted Seed of Glory. Now Ferret's Bro is like, all right, there's a Harsh Rule out. 2 Oni Ronins was all it took to get Harsh Rule. And now if you're Trumpets, now you can still vanquish Rise. That's okay.
It's not great, but
Staff of Stories is awful.
Yeah, I don't love Staff in Primal Icaria. Because it just doesn't get to really counterproductive to the rest of your deck.
I like Staff of Stories. I don't like Staff of Stories when you're playing 3 Auric Runehammers and 2 Dice Shows. Then you can, and a Sword of the Sky King, then you can run into these really conflicting spots where you just have too many relic weapons. And as a 2-of, that's like really bold as well. But I've had a lot of fun with Staff of Stories. You just, the tough card to build around and figure out where the right spot to play it and fit it in is.
Yeah, you really need some kind of blockers or way to really protect it well.
Yeah,
and this deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this deck just cut out all the Kothons and the Borderlands Wake, so it's really difficult for Staff of Stories. I do not mind Sword of the Sky King, but I think Icaria would have been better.
Yeah, it's pretty bored, so at least you don't have to worry about the Caleb's Choice blowing out this Sword of the Sky King, although I guess you have Face Aegis as well. But I agree. Icaria is just like so good on this board. It's so hard for Skycrag to answer. It makes the rest of your draws incredible. But still, Sword of the Sky King with a Face Aegis is pretty strong.
Yeah, but now he can't cast the Staff of Stories because
he rose for Sword of the Sky King. Exactly. Like now you have Vanquish. You can vanquish this Oni Ronin, play Staff of Stories, and hope they don't have a fully powered Champion of Fury for the next couple turns. And yeah, you just rose for Sword of the Sky King and is playing Staff instead. And this is exactly what we're talking about.
But I mean, it could still do well. I mean, 1 or 2 units will. Okay, if he plays double mortar here, then he's going to feel pretty rewarded for that Staff.
Yeah, no, I liked playing Staff over Sword. I just don't know if I liked Rising for Sword was the thing. But
yeah, exactly.
Now Skycrag's facing down an absolutely massive sword here, 10-8. And all right, Warped In Yeti, cool. This Snow Crush Yeti is huge because Harshal's not going to deal with it. So that means this sword has to hit it, but still has Caleb's Choice now for the draw for turn, so it's not like this sword's going to get taken out by burn, at least.
Yeah. That, the Warcry's hitting the Snow Crush Yeti is just huge for Ferret's Row. Now, this Vadius is going to be able to take care of the Sword of the Sky King.
Except he can't cast it. Another Primal Sigil. These draws for Ferret's Row. Skycrag Banner, Primal Sigil, Diplo Seal, Primal Sigil.
It's been a rough one.
Brutal.
How big do you think the Sky King is that he needs to think of a sword?
I mean, big enough.
Big enough? He hasn't shown up. I don't know. I mean, if Jack can handle it, he can't be that big, right?
I don't want the Sky King showing up anytime soon. I can't about that, but it looks like Trumpets will win this game. Torch off the Aegis on Throne War Cross, but whatever. Fast and loose, Caleb's Choice here. Doesn't matter either. Nothing matters. This game's over.
Wow, got real dark.
Yeah.
And that's going to be 1-1 for both players. So a good start from Ferret's Row in game 1, and then a rough influence draw from him in game 2, plus drawing some nice power on Trumpet's side, able to curve out there and get some good answers in hard.
So, yeah, Trumpet's making some questionable plays that game there, but overcoming it through the power of the Sky King, I guess. That's all there is to it. So yeah, here we go. Sideboard time. We talked about this a little before. What do you think both players are going to do with their sideboard here?
So I don't think that Trumpets has much to do here, like we talked about. He just has most of the anti-aggro in already. The only cards I'm really looking at are potentially, well, obviously Valkyrie Enforcer, potentially Duelist Blade over something like Staff of Stories. And then Reforge is actually very good against aggro if you cast it and you have already gotten some value. You can just kind of end the game. It's just very slow. I would maybe like it over something like Rise to the Challenge, but it's tough.
Yeah, Rise to the Challenge is also very slow, so I could see that. Like, staff swapping for duelist blades. I like Reforge a bit more when you're playing Sword of Ikaria, because then you can have those natural curves of Sword into Reforge, into play that Reforged Sword the next turn. So it's a little bit clunkier in this version of this controlling Ikaria Primal deck. But it still is probably a little bit better than, say, the fourth challenge. Other options, do you think they bring in any more counter spells than the 2 Caleb choice already in the main deck with these unsealed?
In Ikaria Blue?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
don't
your
think
opponent's not on that much burn. There's no obliterates, just mortar, rock slide, torch.
Yeah. You're not worried about Crystallizer Polymorph or anything like that. And you're not worried about their counter spells that much. You're not going to be able to wait till 7 to play Harsh Rule. It's just not happening.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ferret's Bro is probably bringing in some number of these backlashes or Caleb's Choice. Borderlands Waykeeper looks pretty sweet here. Doubt the Crystallize is coming in for this matchup, though, even did some work earlier on camera.
Yeah, this is definitely not the Crystallized matchup. Like we said, all of those early drops are out for this deck. So the only relevant threats have either Aegis or both. So not looking hot here. I do not mind Soulfire Drake just because of how powerful it is against weapons, but his deck is just not designed to use Soulfire Drake, right? It's a 25 power deck. He has such low power because he's got such a low curve, and that's why the deck runs super well.
Yeah.
But once you start adding these 5 drops, it gets a lot rougher. Especially we saw him only with 1 fire influence that whole game, and Soulfire Drake is triple fire.
I mean, to be fair, he drew all of their primal sigils in the last game, or four of the 5 primal sigils in the last game.
It was a lot. It was rough.
So it was a little bit out of the expected draw range, I would say.
Yeah. So what are the cards he's looking to get rid of? I think is the big. I think Rock Slide and maybe even value in this matchup.
Yeah, Cinder Yeti still has warp, so it can only be so bad against control, but there aren't many things or blockers to clear out. But it looks like this next game is underway, and Trumpets has a hand that is not very good right now, but Strategize just got scouted to the top. So it's banging on these Crest of Furies to find the justice sources, I guess. It has Lightning Storm, so that's usually pretty good, except there's Snow Crush Yetis on the other side of the board.
Yeah, 2 Snow Crush Yetis, pretty good against Lightning Storm. I think you still just have to, and I have the Strategize bug. Textless Strategize. Still works, though.
Yeah, I assure you it has text and it works, but there's the Lightning Storm, only clearing half the board, but it's a pretty good half. But in the meantime, Trumpets goes down to 13. I think you got to get greedy with the Strategize and try and hit undepleted power and then Torch.
That would be ideal. I think I would have just Torch. Torch is not a bad draw in the least, but now I think you're just dead.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you would Torch there. You would have vanquished the Champion of Fury.
Oh yeah, correct. No, he has no
Oh yeah, that is a problem. Anyway, there's the Seek Power. So now you can vanquish.
Yeah, now you can vanquish and Torch and then die to Torch if Ferris Bro has one.
Yeah. You can only vanquish. This
is you can
getting undepleted power, but it costs 1 to get it. So you're going to 1, which is a bad place to be.
It's more than 0, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, there are worse spots to be, that's for sure. As Ferris Bro draws the 7th power for them this game, and Trumpets may find a way out of this yet.
Are you sure about that?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Maybe if he had a Finest Hour, but yeah, depleted Seed of Glory means Torch and die.
The other card I was thinking about taking out of Ferris Bro's deck is Frost.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you do want some amount of removal, but
what's it removing?
Yeah, exactly. And so Ferris Bro takes out Trumpets in game 3. So now just 1 more, and Ferris Bro will lock up this series and move on.
Yeah, Ferris Bro has that 2-1 lead. Will he be able to close it out here, or does Trumpets have it in him to make the comeback?
I mean, you do have to get through Throne Warden somehow, right?
No, the best way to kill Throne Warden is to kill their...
That's all right.
I mean, the Valkyrie Forces are probably coming in, but again, those die to like Mortar and Torch anyways. I think off cutting Permafrost for more threats. Brennan and Drones, Borderlands, Caleb's Choice, whatever. Any of these cards are better than Permafrost.
Yeah, let's just leave in all the Cinder Yetis. Never kill Throne Warden. Just exhaust it every turn. It'll be fine.
Sure. Still
And
better
we
than Permafrost.
see him bring in the Groundbreaker, which I think is interesting. Not really any life gain. I don't hate it because it doesn't die to Vanquish. The problem is he's playing 25 power. Going up on his curve at all is really rough. I mean, if he's just cutting things like Rock Slide and Permafrost, it's probably fine.
Yeah, but it's way better than those cards.
Yeah.
I am okay with it.
Yeah,
I would much rather have something that does 6 damage and dodges Vanquish and Island's Choice than a dead Permafrost in hand.
That's very true. The only problem is I have concerns about him being able to cast everything, like I said, but I'm not sure what he could.
The nice thing with his deck, though, is if you're stuck on 3, you're just playing spells every turn anyways. It's the worst thing in the world.
That's definitely very true.
Oh, I'm stuck on 3 power? Okay, I can't cast this one Groundbreaker and Mortar in my hand, but I'm playing all these other things.
Well, unless you draw triple Diplomatic Seal, and then you just can't cast your Vadius or Scepter or something.
Triple Diplomatic Seal can cast those cards.
I don't know how you manage to pick double Primal, but maybe he does, Could misclick.
Yes. You should not play cards because you can misplay them. I believe that's what the Rally Queen motto.
Yeah. Look, don't play games. You could lose. Just watch other people play games. They'll lose for you.
Yeah. Oh man, armchair quarterbacks. They're my favorite.
But we have opening hands now, and looks pretty good on Ferris Bro's side. He's got double Diplo Seal and a Primal Sigil. So Oni Ronin, Vadius.
I don't know. If I'm Ferris Bro, I think I mulligan this because there's a chance I misclick my Diplomatic Seal for Primal.
That's definitely a real concern.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Trumpets keeps this hand because it has Lightning Storm and Double Justice. Can't cast this Wisdom quite yet, but I think the rest of it is enough to get the job done, or hopefully enough.
Yeah, I think Lightning Storm will be fine to hold off the ground for now. And then he does have the Harsh Rule and the Throne Warden drawn to later, which is how he won game 2. So.
All right, Ferris Bro here draws a Champion of Fury for turn, so that makes this Lightning Storm quite a bit more appealing. And Strategize you can cast without having double Primal, so that's a pretty good pickup for Trumpets as well. I think you can't really wait any longer on a Lightning Storm here, though.
Yeah, especially you don't know that there could be another.
Man, you got a Harsh Rule in hand. Just clear the board and make them reload. I'm all for greed once in a while, but this is beyond greed to me.
I mean, I think it'll work out fine in this particular scenario. But I mean, yeah, what's going to happen? He might keep one Champion of Fury if Shogun Scepter goes on it.
That's a pretty bad thing.
Yeah, but it's not great, but you can handle it. He kills both Oni Ronins. I mean, obviously, I think the Lightning Storm was the correct play when you're just trying to draw into power for Harsh Rule.
There's some tension here for Ferris, bro. He drew a Skycrag banner, so you could have Diplo Sealed to get fire still, because now Diplo Seal's guaranteed undepleted. But if you draw that triple fire card, you might not be able to cast it.
Yeah, and he turned on Vanquish, but that was not a real concern. He's gonna anyway.
Yeah, so that was a move you have to debate a bit there about whether or not you go Diplo Seal or Banner. I would have gone Diplo Seal there because I don't have any 4-cost cards in my hand anyways, so I just play a 3-drop next turn and play Banner, and it doesn't matter.
I mean, you do lose 1 damage off the champion.
Yeah, that's fair, but I think I'd rather have access to triple fire because now that you have a Soulfire Drake in hand.
Look, Holding Storm was fine. All he's got to do is deal with this 6/3 and this 3/2 Aegis. It's fine.
That's true. Yep.
Live.
Trumpets is alive right now. I can confirm that Trumpets is actually
I'm getting news. I'm getting a word in. It appears Trumpets is not alive. Turns out.
Yeah, so again, maybe he should have used Lightning Storm earlier. Maybe it didn't matter. But what does matter is that Ferrisborough wins and gets to move on to the next round. And still a good showing from Trumpets. representing Primal Moistacaria Blue, I believe is the you know, gets to show up and show off what that deck can do. Strategize and Wisdom of the Elders are pretty hard cards to play with, same with Rise of the Challenge, especially after playing already 8 rounds of Eternal. I know I am not the biggest fan of playing that much Control in one sitting, even though I love playing Control. It is a real tax. So as easy it is for us to say, oh, misplay, I would have done this differently. That's the beauty of the game. It's not an easy game to play, and there's reasons to not take the lines of play that we discuss.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have gone 0-2 drop. So, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's easy for us to be Statler and Waldorf up here, but still great performance from Trumpets, and of course we'll get to see more of the Skycrag aggro list in the next round. Although I imagine we'll be over on the other side of the bracket checking out what else.
Let's see. And top 8 still earns him points for the Invitational.
Yeah, every win during the Swiss matters, and these top 8 results certainly are nice for the points as well. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, it looks like Missing Toes took down the Tristero, so the Tristero goes 8-0 and then wins and then loses in the top 8. So still an 8-1 record's a pretty good record, but Missing Toes takes him out. And then Alarmadillo takes down Bruised by God. So good. Down goes the Huru Flyers. Alarmadillo takes it 3-1. So Alarmadillo versus Missing Toes is on the other side of the bracket. We're still waiting for the matchup results from Unearthly versus Second Blue. I don't know if we're going to dip in to observe that match or what the status is on that. So from the back end.
Yeah, and we saw both those players already. Second Blue being on Grenadins, and that's Unearthly again on Argenport mid-range. So that's the matchup that we saw before.
Yeah, that is a rematch from last round.
Where Unearthly defeated him in a very favored matchup. So it's pretty unfortunate for Second Blue to get that twice in a row.
Yeah, he was probably going to have to face it at some point. It is Unearthly, but to face it right away again, not ideal. But the fact that the matchup's still going, it's probably a good sign for Second Blue there that you know, Unearthly didn't get the swift 3-0 or something. But yeah, it's in game 5.
Yeah, we're actually going to move into watch game 5 here.
Here we go, the deciding match. So we're going to get it from Unearthly's perspective. I don't know if we'll get the hand cam set up, but we'll take what we can get, except we need them to allow observers. So we're working on that. And then maybe we'll just go for the other. Yeah. We're getting this match set up. Hold your horses. We'll get in there. We'll get the action.
Yeah, so both players are 2-2 right now. We're in game 5. They're just at openers. So we're going to get a nice, fresh match for you here.
Yep, and there we go. Spec mode is active. We get to see Unearthly's beautiful, shining hand. It's got an Instigator and Tinker Overseer. These are pretty good cards. Slay, not so great in this matchup. 4 power's a lot, but you have the Crest of Vengeance to try and bottom a power, or hope that you bottom a power. So not a bad hand to be looking at, even though 4 power's a lot on the draw.
And on the other side, you can't see it, but Second Blue has a Grenadin Drone, a Spark Catcher, Assembly Line, a Scrap Tank, and 3 power. So he's got a nice 1-2-3 curve and then a Scrap Tank.
Yeah, that's what Second Blue wants. He wants to try and be as beat downy as possible in this matchup, even though that's really Unearthly's role. You know, he can transition better into the grindy game, but he needs to get some pressure early. As Unearthly does ship off this 4 power hand and gets a double Annihilate Sabotage 4 power hand. Ooh, not good.
Yeah, not good against what Second Blue has going on. And he keeps a Combust on top with that Crest.
The worst part of this 4 power hand for Unearthly, 3 Sigils and an Emerald Monument. Only 1 Shadow Source as the top deck is Impending Doom. This is just ugly for Unearthly. Can turn 1 Sabotage here, but I think he's got to save it because he knows his draw is going to be really threat light, and he needs to protect whatever threat he ends up.
Yeah, I don't like... I suppose he couldn't have played Grenadin Drone turn. But if Second Blue had been able to get down the nice 1-2-3, I mean, here Unearthly probably going to take... he takes Combust. Well, now Assembly Line plus Grenadin Drone and Spark Catcher is going to be a lot of damage for Unearthly to deal with.
Yeah, but still wanted to take that only answer as Unearthly's hand is Impending Doom and Tavrod, and he's not going to win this game if the first unit gets down is killed. Of course, the draw here for Unearthly, another Justice Sigil, still only on one Shadow Influence in hand, desperately needs to top deck a Shadow Source here, even though he already has like a little too much power. As the Grenadin beatdown commences, maybe we'll see an Annihilate from Unearthly here.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate, but it might be what he has to do.
It would have saved him like 3 health maybe over the course of this game. Instead, the draw is Protect, and Unearthly getting punished hard for this mulligan. Going from 4 power to 4 power, but a huge downgrade in the hand quality. Not a spot you want to be at. Yeah, the world is second blue's oyster. Phrase goes, Annihilate the Spark Catcher. Still 5 damage comes in. Unearthly goes to 13. And this is not a spot that Archiport deck that doesn't have Copper Hall Bailiff wants to be in.
Basically, I mean, he really wanted to get down something like Unseen Commando, and he just didn't get any of those cards this game.
Bear's Favor, though, is a Shadow Source. Will not let him cast Impending Doom or Tavrod this turn. He's got to debate on whether or not he wants to just kill a random 1/1 Grenadier or take out the Spark Catcher. And Devour in response, sure. Second blue will turn that Grenadin into some stuff, but Shadow Sigil still the get for Unearthly here, and it's not looking great, but it still has a chance to turn this around.
Well, second blue has 2 premium scrap tanks in hand and the 5th power already there with a Granite Waystone. So it's a lot for Unearthly to try and slog through there.
Yeah.
Gets blockers. There's just going to be so many 1/1s coming in every turn. And he draws another assembly line. I'm not sure that Unearthly is going to be able to get out of this unless he gets some lifesteal going.
Yeah, Unearthly opts to play the Monument this turn so that he can guarantee, I imagine, go Tavrod with the Shadow Sigil and hold up Protect, and then pray that Tavrod hits a Bloodletter and like turns this around. But I think there's just simply too many units on the board here. Unearthly's already at 6. Tavrod can only block 1 Grenadin. So I think he needs, like you said, Unseen Commando. I still doesn't gate him enough. And yeah, there's Shadow Sigil, Tavrod, and we just need to see an ace face from second blue.
Yeah, and Torch off the top as well. So it's just game very over, and that's going to put second blue into the semifinals. Unearthly, one of our ETS veterans, the person with the most series points, I believe, from last season.
Yes.
And second place in the World Championships, taken down here.
Yeah, he was number 1 in points overall last year, so he got the Player of the Year award, and also was second at Worlds. So certainly one of the best players on the ETS circuit. But getting just swarmed by Grenadins. You know, we've seen large report lists play bailiffs before and stuff like that to help against these go wide aggro decks, but go wide aggro hasn't been that popular lately. You know, the Queen decks kind of shifted towards Vicious Highwayman and going bigger, stuff like that. Plus you have Unseen Commando to help you gain life, and we saw this was a pretty good matchup for him. Just turned out that it didn't work out in that match there. Yeah, blue takes it down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's going to be the end of the quarterfinals. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back for the semifinals of top 8.